Hi there, my name is Moray. I am a fashion designer and I absolutely adore history. And in this series I cover the partners of famous people from antiquity. Today we're going to be covering Theodora, the wife of the most famous emperor of the Byzantine Empire, Emperor Justinian. This is a fantastic book. This is actresses and Theodora was a former actress and rumoured to be a former I think we have to blur out my language, right? Yes. I really love Theodora's story because she was alleged to have been a sex worker. However, she had a tale of redemption, but not in the way that you would think. She did not shame other women and she greatly improved women's rights. Okay, so let's get into it, but before we delve into Theodora, let's talk about her husband Justinian. So we have Justinian. He's born in 482 AD and he's born to a poor family. And despite this, he rose to the ranks of being emperor through his uncle Justin. He was famous for his Renovato Empiri, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, the renovation of the empire. And he's also fondly remembered as a great lawmaker. He's famously remembered for the Justinian Code. The Justinian Code is the legal system that we use today in Europe. This lasted centuries. Justinian was known as a workaholic. He was a man who sought to formidify the Byzantine Empire's borders. Kind of like Aurelian, Team Aurelian. So, with Justinian briefly covered, let's talk about Theodora. So, Theodora is rumoured to have come from many places. We don't have an exact place for her birth. Some historians say Syria, some historians say Cyprus. Historians agree she was born around 495 AD, and she was born to an actress. She was born to her father, Akeksieva, who was an animal trainer down at the hippodrome. And her upbringing was quite poor. What we know of Theodora from her early life is from Procopius, who has a very nuanced perspective on Theodora, a very conflicting perspective on Theodora. Procopius states that Theodora began her career providing sexual services as well as being an actress. He states that she was very famous for her role in the production of Leda and the Swan. And there are also rumours that Theodora had a daughter herself, despite Procopius' conflicting accounts. It's John of Ephesus, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong again, but he states that she was just an actress. However, I've got to say that actress and prostitute are quite interdistinguishable, especially throughout history. It's a very thin line. I mean, we talk about the casting couch today and make jokes about Harvey Weinstein. However, centuries ago we were talking about how actresses were essentially giving sexual favors and working as prostitutes. After Theodora's acting career, we can see that she becomes a concubine of Hesibolus, who was a Syrian governor. However, after a quarrel, she travelled to Alexandria and she became a friend with a person called Macedonia. Yes, Macedonia was a name. Who was an acquaintance of Justinian. And that's how she met her future husband. Justinian back then was a rising political figure. He really wanted to marry this woman. However, law stated that reformed actresses could not get married to politicians. Euphemia had a lot to do with this. She was Justinian's predecessor. However, in 424 AD, after her death, Justinian sought the help of his uncle and they changed the law, and Theodora and Justinian were married. We can see from 529 AD to 534 AD, it's Justinian who now is looking over the legal code of the Byzantine Empire. Corpus Juris Civilis was a major undertaking. Commoners got much better rights after Justinian reframed his legal code. For example, Justinian wanted to curb creditor rates on goods such as grains and fruit. We see in even modern day society today, a lot of women who were page 3 girls or OnlyFans models or sugar babies, a bit hypocritical, and they then shame other women once they've gone through their own reformation. Theodora was not about that, despite being a reformed actress. She put women's issues at her core and was instrumental with Justinian, who is said to have been crazy about her, and helped reform this code with women in mind. She founded a convent for former prostitutes. She gave women more divorce rights. Procopius obviously did not like this because he said that she was championing women at the expense of moral order.
To just off. Tired of being judged for choosing to have children or not have children, to have children and go back to work, to have children and not go back to work, for being too thin, too fat, too pushy, too unambitious, too hot, not hot enough, or even for just daring to be alive, women have stressed that everyone can go themselves.
What's interesting about the Justinian Code as well is that they saw this Byzantine Empire and they saw the cultures merging, kind of like Rome. And what they did was they put the Justinian Code into Latin and to Greek. So these cultures merging so all parties could understand the law, and so it was much more accessible. Theodora did not bend to her husband. Emperor Justinian was from a part of Christianity, or a branch of Christianity called Chalcedonian, where Theodora was, I think she was like Miaphysite Christianity. That's the branch of Christianity that she championed. Following the Nika Revolt, Justinian and Theodora constructed over 25 churches, including the Hagia Sophia. Before we end this video, let's talk about Procopius. Now, then, Procopius is one of the main sources on Theodora's life, and he did not like this woman, but he had very based and different accounts on the book he was writing about them. Take, for example, the Wars of Justinian. The Wars of Justinian was a largely favourable account and talked about Theodora's courage. However, in the Scathing history, which a lot of scholars use as primary evidence, he was absolutely scathing about Theodora and referred to her as being corrupt and cruel. And then you see a book like The Buildings of Justinian, he calls them pious and devout. It is very strange. Empress Theodora passes on the 24th of June, 548 AD. Age was 48 years old, and it's said that she passed away of cancer. Theodora's life is incredible because she shows that even if you have a past that isn't so favourable, you don't have to shame others. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.